Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back here to the launch pad. My name's Zach. I am the host here at the pad, and here at the pad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. And you're joining us for our live launch coverage of a Soyuz 2.1B rocket carrying 34 OneWeb satellites into orbit, continuing the expansion of the OneWeb constellation. Last time we had a OneWeb launch, it was their first polar launch and was a big momental launch for them as they were officially able to start offering service in some parts of the world. And they are continuing to grow their service to slowly offer more and more service from each end of the poles towards the equator. So we are currently sitting at T minus 30 minutes and counting. We will patch in the official Roscosmos feed as we have not had the official OneWeb feed begin yet. Roscosmos obviously will be fully in Russian, but we do have that live view of the rocket on the top right side of the screen, and they're jumping back and forth, but you can see it behind him as well. So we'll keep that on screen so you guys can see it and go through just some of the stats of the launch. But of course, we are waiting for OneWeb to also begin their live coverage. And when they do that, we will go live to them, as it will be in English, and we'll be listening into that as we will get updates on the rocket. We're expecting them to go live in about 15 minutes, but we wanted to jump on here. As always, we love answering your questions about everything space, so make sure you're sending those in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from to get us started in the chat. I know we got people all over the world, and we're glad you're here. This was a surprise stream, so take a moment also, share out the link, let people know that we are here and indeed live covering it. But today's launch, again, as I said, is OneWeb9. You can actually see right behind him there, the big kind of clamshell is now separating from the rocket. Hopefully they will jump back to that view here in a moment. But those are the big walkways for them to be able to do rocket checks. So they are preparing the pad and will begin clearing it. The Soyuz launches are one of those weird ones where we see people up close to the pad, very close to T0 as they do final checks and the press get their final photos. But today you're joining us for our live launch coverage of OneWeb9. The launch provider is Arianespace with the Russian Federal Space Agency. Customer obviously would be OneWeb. It's going to be carrying 34 of their OneWeb satellites on top of the Soyuz 2.1B rocket, which they're giving you a view of here on screen, breaking down the boosters and the rocket. Today's payload mass is 5,022 kilograms, or about 11,100 pounds, and is going again into a polar orbit. The initial orbit will be at 450 kilometers circular with an inclination of 87.4 degrees, but once deployed, these satellites will go into a final orbit of about 1,200 kilometers. And this is one of the big differences between OneWeb and Starlink. Starlink, you need a lot more satellites, but they're a lot lower. OneWeb, they're a lot further away, but obviously they're able to cover a greater area. So some positive and negatives for both of them. Obviously, Soyuz is something that is not recoverable, and the fairings are new for the Soyuz. This is the 65th launch of a Soyuz 2.1B, the 59th launch that has been the Soyuz in partnership with Arianespace, the 8th operational launch of OneWeb. OneWeb9 was a test launch, and that we are at the 80th launch of this year already. So a very busy year, and we will see how this launch goes. You can see them panning away behind him on that camera, the clamshell open. There you go. They're still retracting it and releasing the rocket, and those last few arms will stay there pretty much until launch. And then with the Soyuz, we do see engine ignition, and then actually holds down for a number of seconds before it fully releases with its thrust ready for launch. But if you're just joining us, welcome. Make sure you let us know where you're watching from and send in those questions. If you haven't yet, take a moment and like this video and subscribe. It really does help us out and be able to bring you guys the best possible coverage. This fall, we are heading down to NASA and to Starbase to bring you live coverage of Inspiration 4 and the first ever orbital flight test of Starship. And if you'd like to partner with us and be part of our crew and help us be able to bring you guys the best possible coverage, you can check out the link pinned in the description, and we would appreciate your support in that way. But let's see who's all in here. I know we got Josh is in here, James, Brian, good to see you, OG, Golden, good to see you, Jamie, good to see you. How's everybody doing? We're doing good. Excited for another one. Virginia, good to see you in here again. Sky, hello. Claudio, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, from Brazil. Welcome, good to see you. Poker Gods in Arizona. Preston, to be fair, the tanks aren't pressurized enough high pressure, and is that scary? I feel like I missed a comment on that one, but perfect. Josh already liked and already subscribed. You're perfect then, Josh. Thank you so much. Billy Bobby, did you all say this was the 80th launch this year? This is the 80th operational orbital launch of this year, yes. Quite a momentous year, picking up that speed of these launches. This does not include the number of suborbital flights that we have seen and the numerous sounding rockets as well. 80th orbital launch. China's had a lot with their new station. There was a lot of Starlink early in the year as SpaceX completed their first shell of the Starlink constellation. And we are going to have a news update coming out to you guys here later tonight about some big news with Starlink. SpaceX making some changes to their plan for Starlink officially with the FCC. So we're going to be breaking that all down. And an update about the HLS contract. NASA has not released a statement, but has filed some paperwork in court. And we'll have a news update for you guys about that as well later this evening. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Jan, hello, good to see you. Aiden, Spaceflight X, welcome. Greetings, Pablo, good to see you. Yeah, it's a lot. It's been a very busy year. Lots of Soyuz launches, lots of Long March launches, and lots of Falcon 9. So it's definitely picking up. The three main nations definitely getting busier each year as the kind of next race to space is really well underway. But if you're just joining us, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the Launchpad, and you're watching our live launch coverage of OneWeb9 on a Soyuz 2.1B rocket launching from Kazakhstan. Be launching from Site 31-6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and you can see that beautiful picture in the bottom right corner of some of their antennas and dishes at the launch site, and a great shot of what the OneWeb satellites look like when they are deployed. Now, we're not too sure if they're going to stay live for full deployment here. They have some of the time. They have not others. So we will keep an eye on that. If they do, our live commentary will wrap up a little while after the launch and orbit is completed and maybe after the first payload deployment, but it does take them generally a few hours to complete their payload deployment. But at this point, we're at T-minus 23 minutes and counting. If you're wondering why you're not hearing the guy on the screen, that's because he's speaking Russian, and I don't know what he's saying, so I can't help translate. Josh, I've watched a lot of launches. A lot this year. Glenn from New Zealand, how's it going? Why do they have so many nozzles or motors? That's just the design of the Soyuz. Each one has 4 on the booster, and it's just the design and how they made them functional. Definitely something we could dive deeper into. We are working on a series for the channel where we kind of go through a spotlight on each rocket and just explain how they work. So I'll save that question for that. Keep an eye out. Those will be coming out starting in the fall. Hi from the UK. Always watching. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. Good to see you here. Josh is in the UK. All fans all over the world. Yeah, it's really crazy, actually, just how you guys are literally all over the world. And we appreciate you guys being here and being part of our crew and our community. I really believe space is better together, and we're here to answer those questions, but also then just to bring you guys live coverage as we can sit and watch and listen as we kind of race to being a multi-planetary and planetary body species. There we go. There's a answer from Preston. Awesome. The combustion instability is for the bigger nozzle, the bigger the problem. The problem had been solved with the F1. Great answer there, Preston. Thank you so much. Aren't the smaller engines for roll? That's a good question. I'll be honest, I have not studied the Soyuz one that deeply. But let me pull up some information on it. Each side booster has a singular RD-107A engine. This is using a mix of liquid oxygen and RP1 for them, so similar to what we've seen. Each engine has 4 combustion chambers and 4 nozzles, which is common in older Russian engines, as the USSR could not solve the problem of the combustion instability, like Preston was saying, for it. So that is why They have it during the side booster separation. We get that beautiful spin away in the 4 directions, creating that cross, who was part, and it's named after the Korolev cross. I'm saying that wrong. I know I am. It was named after the chief design engineer of the USSR program in the 1960s. Yes, they do not gimbal. They're not gimbaling. Hey, Edward, good to have you in here. You are watching a launch of Arianespace of a Russian Soyuz rocket carrying OneWeb satellites. So talk about a combination, and they're launching from Kazakhstan. So big combination for today, but we're going to be watching 34 satellites launch in about 20 minutes here. We are expecting OneWeb to officially go live in the next about 5 minutes or so, and we will patch that in when they go live, as they will have some English updates for us on just how the rocket is progressing in the count and things like that. But if you're just joining us, welcome. Let us know where you're watching from, and we're glad to answer any questions you have, so you can send those in the chat. If you guys haven't yet, also, I invite you to join our Discord. Link is in the description, and we're hanging out in live comms. Welcome to join there. You don't have to use your mic. There is a live hangout chat as well that you can use, but obviously the YouTube chat works perfectly as well. Thinking about an older Atlas rocket, pretty sure. Emilio's from New Jersey. James is in Abilene, Texas. Always good to see you in here. David, hello from Wales, UK. Great to have you. Thanks for being here. Bob, hello from Ontario, Canada. Hey, Bob, good to see another Canadian in here. I am out west in Alberta. Virginia, as always, Lakewood, Washington. Great to see you in here. We know this was a surprise one. I wasn't sure if I'd be in the studio or not in time to be able to bring this one to you guys, so I didn't want to promise it, but we are here and we're ready to bring the live coverage of this launch. Everything's been progressing well in their count for the last few hours, as they prepare for this 8th operational launch of the OneWeb constellation. If you're new here, don't forget, take a moment to engage the subscribe button or share out the link. Invite a friend to join you as we count down the last 18 minutes here until launch. Golden, I think you'll hit the 7.5K by the end of August. We'll see. We got a little ways to go. We're just short of 5.5, so we'll see what happens. Aiden, Manchester, New Hampshire, I believe that would be. Good to have you here. Thanks so much. We'll see what happens, Golden. We are grateful for each and every one of you that are here, and just excited what this year will entail and what we can expect to come over the next year. Lots of plans for 2022 that we can't wait to share with you all in the near future. Carl from Holiday, Florida. Awesome. I don't know where that is, but that sounds like a nice place to go. Maha, hello. Good to see you. Sam, when do you go to see the SpaceX test I remember you saying about? So we are heading down to Kennedy first in Florida for the launch of Inspiration 4, which is targeting September 15th currently. And then we will be heading there for about a week. And then we will be heading over to Starbase around the 19th or 20th of September for just under a week. As it does look like the orbital flight test will take a little bit longer to be prepared for. So we'll be there for a few days. Then we're going to head up to Johnson Space Center for a morning and early afternoon, give you guys a look there before I come back home to the main studio. And then we will be planning to do another trip down once we have a firm ship launch date. We can only do that thanks to your guys' support. So if you can help in donating in that way, that makes sure that we get down there until the channel's able just to cover those kind of costs there. But we will be trying to make that commitment of being there live in person for that launch. But we will definitely be there bringing you some views as they prepare and bringing you countdown to the orbital test flight. So we're excited to see them in preparation mode. And then a couple weeks later, we'll probably have to fly down again for the actual test flight based on some things we've been hearing close to Starbase. So mid-September, we're not even, I think we're 4 weeks away, and I'd already be in Florida at this point. So very, very excited. Hope OneWeb succeeds. Absolutely. Maha from Pakistan. Hello, Maha. Thanks for being here. Great to have you. Mark, do you think Firefly launch on September 2nd? Based on what I was hearing from the CEO of it, I was on a call with him a couple weeks ago. I believe so. That's what they're targeting. And of course, if they have live coverage, we will be bringing that to you as we wish them well with their first test flight. Just above Terra. Okay, awesome. Buenos tardes, guys. Hey, George. Good to see you. Hey, SAS. Good to see you. Billy Bobby, if it actually happens this year, will you be covering the James Webb launch? I mean, of course you will. I just want to hear the words. Absolutely, Billy. We will be bringing you live coverage of the launch of James Webb, a very exciting, historic launch. Hubble, really set the tone for the last 30 years. And now we're ready for that next level and next era of science and research as we have James Webb finally get deployed out. So we will, of course, be bringing you that coverage, depending how their coverage is. I'm not sure we'll be able to be there for the launch in person. I don't believe that'll happen, but of course we will bring it to you live from our studio here, which at that point we will be in the new studio. So if you guys are a YouTube member or a Patreon member of any level, you get access to our behind the scenes. And we posted in the behind the scenes chat yesterday on the Discord a little sneak peek of some of the blueprint plans of what we're planning for the next kind of iteration of the studio, so we can bring you guys even better coverage, and excited for you guys to see that here in the near future. George, how's it going? What about the new Starship? Well, yeah, we were looking at that, trying to get a little more information. Elon announced yesterday that the current iteration of Starship will be changing, and that these forward fins and flaps will actually be moving a bit this way. So when you do it horizontally, you'll have these ones here, and then these ones will be up here. Big reason it's going to bring them out of those TPS tiles for the heat shield and some other operational stuff there. There's also, if you remember, anytime we saw a belly flop, the belly flops were not straight. They were quite this. So with that different little bit of lift, we'll hopefully have a little bit more of a stable Starship. We're going to patch it just to me here for a minute as Arianespace is getting ready here. And we will, of course, be bringing both of those to you. So we'll be switching back and forth between the Russian coverage and the Arianespace coverage. Arianespace, we will patch in their audio, so you guys will be able to hear it as they go live. They have started up their stream, but they aren't showing us anything as of yet. So the moment that they do, we will patch that in. So you guys can see it, but keep sending in those questions. We'll be answering those. We are currently sitting at about T-minus 11 minutes and counting. The Russian channels back, giving us a great view as they prepare the pad there. They always switch away right when we get to it. So that's always a moment there. I've recently, not by choice, just switched jobs. I do plan to hit you up. Billy, I thank you so much. I mean, congratulations on a new job. I'm sorry that obviously it wasn't maybe there by choice, but I hope it's a job that you can at least find some joy in, and no pressure at all. We don't expect donations. We don't ask people to donate to read your guys' comments. That's something we want to do. If we ever get to the point where I can't answer all the questions you guys send in, I've already got a plan that we're going to do companion videos where basically within 24 hours of whatever stream that was, we'll release a video making sure to answer the rest of your guys' questions, because I want to respect your guys' time and we want to answer those questions for you guys. As we believe space is better together, and we want to answer those questions. You can get a great view here of just the scale of the Soyuz and where these 34 OneWeb satellites are, just in the scale of them being attached onto the rocket here. We'll swipe over, and it looks like they're getting the OneWeb official stream up here, so we'll patch them in just a moment once they start their live audio coverage here. Does Soyuz use RP-1? It does. Is SpaceX ever going to launch from Vandenberg? They are. They've been authorized for 6 launches currently. We are just awaiting for those dates to be scheduled. But very soon, they moved one of the drone recovery ships out there, and they have some support ships. So they are ready to launch from Vandenberg. But we believe what is happening is they were waiting for some of these changes of Starlink to be filed. And we will have an update for all of you guys coming later tonight. 2 big flash news updates. 1, big changes coming to Starlink's plans. And 2, another update about the HLS contract. So some new information from NASA. Tubi or Tubby, way off. Oh, let's listen in here.
Journalist and broadcaster, and welcome to OneWeb's 9th satellite launch. Now, if you've been following our progress, you'll know that there are already more than 250 OneWeb satellites in a low Earth orbit. Each one of those little solar-powered marvels is around the size and weight of a fridge or washing machine. And they are moving through orbit, preparing to provide low-latency, high-speed internet from space. Each launch expands OneWeb's capability to deliver that connectivity lifeline to those parts of the world where it's needed most. To date, 8 launches have delivered a total of 254 satellites into orbit, enabling OneWeb to offer its communications service from its satellites to all regions north of 50 degrees latitude later this year. That's an area that stretches from the North Pole to the southernmost tip of the UK and connects many communities in Northern Europe, Greenland, Iceland, Canada and Alaska, who cannot rely on ground-based communications. Launch 9 will add another 34 satellites to this orbiting network, which will keep up the pace of the rollout to achieve OneWeb's overall mission, to connect the unconnected around the world. And that's a big mission, because while it seems that everyone has a smartphone these days, almost half the world, more than 4 billion people, are not yet online. And for many that are, the service can be slow and patchy. So let's now have an update on OneWeb's service progress, as we're going to hear from Senior Technology Engineer Maite Carreras.
The team at OneWeb continues to work super hard and with a lot of passion, as always, during a busy summer as we prepare to introduce our services for the first time later this year. Today, we are excited to be watching another 34 satellites lift off, which will bring us to 288 satellites in orbit. Our team has been working super hard since the last launch to raise our satellites up to their final destination 1,200 kilometers above Earth, and also continuing to build the network on the ground. This means continuing to work on our ground stations and user terminals, core pieces of the system and super important to begin demonstrations of our service. And today, I'm so lucky because I have the chance of being at a demonstration site. You can see behind me our demonstration antennas, ready to perform connectivity demonstrations for our customers. We also want to give a warm welcome to our new investment partner, Hanwha, who will bring valuable technology expertise, and we are thrilled to have them on board. Welcome. And with all this, which are the next challenges for Team OneWeb? We have many. We will be showcasing more of our services in demonstrations. We are starting customer services this fall, and of course, more launches will follow as we keep building the network. Go Team OneWeb, and wishing the satellites a safe flight.
Now, for OneWeb's 9th launch, we return to the historic Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, which lies about 2,000 kilometers southeast of Moscow. If you know your space history, you might know the name of this legendary location. At the very beginning of the space race, 64 years ago, Sputnik 1, the first man-made satellite, launched into space from Baikonur. Vostok 1, the first human spaceflight with Yuri Gagarin, also made history from here in 1961. So today, OneWeb's pioneering mission and revolutionary technology will also use Baikonur as its launch pad. Of course, none of what OneWeb has done would have been possible without the support and expertise of Arianespace. Their team provides the Soyuz rocket that actually carries the OneWeb satellites into space, and they'll be monitoring this launch at every step from their HQ in France. So let's hear from Arianespace CEO Stefan Israel for an update on the mission.
Hello everybody. In a few minutes, our Soyuz launch vehicle is going to deliver 34 more OneWeb satellites into orbit. The mission duration will be 3 hours and 45 minutes. This launch will be delivered from the Baikonur spaceport. For this mission, I would like to thank all our partners federated by Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, and for sure, our customer OneWeb. So now, enjoy the show.
Now, earlier this week, the Soyuz ST-34 rocket was rolled into its launch position. Let's have a look at the rocket's journey to the launch pad. The Soyuz launch vehicle will be carrying the 34 OneWeb satellites. They're all
I'm going to cut in here just because we are now coming up to T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We'll leave this on your screen here, but we are coming up to the launch of today's Soyuz 2.1B, carrying 34 OneWeb satellites into a polar orbit. A couple of key notes that we have heard: it is going to take over 3.5 hours for full deployment, and sometimes they show all of it, sometimes they don't. So depending how their coverage goes, we may stay live for all that so you can watch the deployment, and we'll put on some tunes for you guys. But of course, we are here to answer your questions, so you can continue sending those in the chat, and during that coast phase, we will pick up and answer those. Ryan, you're not late. You're perfect timing. We are at T-minus 2.5 minutes. I'm going to swipe over to the Russia feed as they generally give a little bit of a bigger, like a earlier view of the rocket in the final count. So we'll be switching back and forth and listening in as they prepare for launch here. Launch is in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. I'm covering the countdown on this side. So we're going to quickly switch over here so you guys can see that countdown clock. As always, here at the launch pad at that 2 minute mark, we want to see in the chat go or no go. Let us know, should we launch the thing? We want to hear from you, but everything has been progressing well. Also, there's over 100 of you liking, but only 40 likes. Take a moment. It's free, and it's a great way to be able to just help support the channel here. We'll switch back. See, they're still talking about it. So we're going to patch in the Russian feed for some of the audio, and then we will switch over back here to the English feed following the launch. Give that audio so it's actually on. There we go. And we're at T-minus 90 seconds. We'll listen in here. They are launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan here on the Soyuz 2.1B, T-minus 60 seconds. Now, one thing we point out all the time with Soyuz is it will ignite. You will see lots of fire and smoke before it actually separates, as it takes a few seconds for it to get to full thrust. Oh, and we saw them pull the count.
Already sees that the smoke is starting to billow around, so that means that ignition sequence has
sound like they called a hold.
You can see it there sitting on the launch pad where it has been for the past 3 days, and of course it now is fully autonomous. So very shortly we'll see the infrastructure fall away, and we'll start.
It looks like they're going to go for it. The guy said the abort, but maybe that was the last abort call.
So they're going to be working through those different thrust levels. You can see the smoke billowing around.
Should be down at about 10 seconds or so here.
Remember, it's currently 3 a.m. over where they're launching it, so they've been working throughout the night to get to
Austin,
this
good
point.
to see you.
So going to be working up
Wet
through
DJ,
those different thrust levels,
Sky,
starting
good to see you all here.
ignite the engines, and very shortly we'll see those engines fire up.
See, we're past that 30 seconds, so I think there was something.
And you can hear them on the background speaking through the countdown as it starts to prepare more and more. We've got lovely clear conditions this evening, or this morning for where they are, wherever you're watching in the world.
We are definitely past
and
that 30
we'll be there
second.
very, very shortly. This is really the moment that I get the most excited about, because it's incredibly exciting as you see it sitting there, getting ready for the big final moment. And remember, they've done a full dress rehearsal of this 2 days ago. So they would have gone through all the checks and systems, making sure that everything is in place. And now it's the moment where we can actually see the liftoff. So this is launch number 9. And it's going to take another load of satellites up into the air.
So we are definitely past that 30-second countdown. We're waiting for an update.
I haven't got anything to report as we sit patiently waiting to see launch 9 take off.
It was very rare to see that big arm come by and them not actually launch, but we did hear that guy say abort. So we may be seeing something that's happening. Obviously, it's a Russian team launching and Arianespace, then
still
sending
waiting.
it to
We
OneWeb.
can still see that there's definitely smoke billowing around. Okay, I have actually just got information that we have report of a sequence interruption. So currently it is not going to take off right this second in time. We don't know if this means that it actually won't be taking off at all tonight, but what we do know is that those automatic checks that it's going through, something has been raised, something has stopped it from doing its normal sequence. So we'll just have to sit tight. I've got an ear to Arianespace. I can hear what's going on and getting reports as and when they come in. I mean, this is the part of doing a live launch, isn't it? We don't quite know what will happen. And this is also what makes it incredibly exciting.
So we're going to keep listening in here, but if you're just joining us,
we're waiting
welcome.
on an update on our
We are in a hold at this time. Some sort of flag came up during the final, right at that 30 seconds. So we are currently a no-go for launch and waiting for an update. So we're going to keep listening in there until we hear some updates. We saw that big arm retract about 20 seconds after hearing abort called. So we're waiting to see what's going on.
Remind you that this sequence is all autonomous. So if there's anything that doesn't quite work, then obviously the software or the computers stop the launch sequence. So that's currently where we're at the moment. The smoke is still billowing though.
They are still keeping it looks like the rocket's still in like a hold, not a scrub at this point. We haven't seen any major venting. Obviously a big sign will be those big clam arms coming back up as well. But we're listening in here. If you guys have questions, send those in. If you're just joining us, take a moment and engage that subscribe button as well. Let's see, can we hit that 5.5K before they launch or scrub this thing? Be a great help. I know many of you are new, so engage that and let us know where you're watching from and send in any questions.
Currently being given. Obviously, we would love to see this take place tonight, but equally, we don't want any damage done to the rocket or the satellite. So, of course, if the engineers, if the technicians don't feel like it's safe and doesn't feel like it will be going through the correct procedure, then we'll put the brakes on it for tonight, and there will be Launch 9 will still happen. It just may not be at this current time. So for now, we just have to wait, see if there's any updates.
We're going to switch over to the Russian one, see what they're showing.
Okay, so I have just
like
had
they're gonna scrub it.
confirmation that Launch 9 has unfortunately been aborted for tonight. And on that note, and I'm sorry this is so abrupt because we were just ready to see it, but that actually does mean that we conclude this live broadcast. However, you can follow OneWeb and
So just like that, we switched over to the Russian one and they were showing their social media. So that was a sign, but that's it. That is done. Before you guys head out, make sure you engage the subscribe button. We'll stay here for a few minutes, answer some questions. But if you're new, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the Launch Pad, and here at the Pad we cover everything space because it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. Yeah, fill the chat with Fs or whatever you want to do. But James, you're spot on there. Scrubs, not ruds. Definitely the most important thing. But that's going to do it. They definitely spotted something in that last time, as they pointed out. At this point, it is all automated. So if something were to have occurred, the system aborts it, and then the engineers and team have to locate the issue and then determine if it's something they can fix for it. But obviously at this point they will lose their launch window, which is why they're just wrapping it up and not going to just be in a longer hold. But yeah, Eve canceled. We got down to T-minus like 30 seconds and we heard someone yell abort. About 20 seconds continued before they actually took the countdown time off. But that is it for now. But take a moment, engage the subscribe button, send in any questions. If you haven't yet, take a moment and join our Discord. It's totally free to do so. The link is in the description. And if you can, check out our newest video pinned on the top of the YouTube channel. We are heading to NASA Kennedy Space Center for some VIP coverage of Inspiration 4, as well as to Starbase for a countdown and live coverage of the orbital flight test. Love to have your guys' support along with us to bring you that best possible coverage. So if you can donate $5 or $10, that's a great support. It's not expected, but it is greatly appreciated. Yeah, poor OneWeb. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, have a hunch. Yeah, when the guy yelled abort, I was pretty sure that was going to wrap it up for us. Mark, good evening. Shame about the scrub. Absolutely. When will they reschedule the launch? We'll wait for an update, Ryan, on Twitter, and we'll tweet it out when we have one and reschedule the stream if we're able to bring it to you. But it'll be sometime in the future. Depends how quick of a fix it can be, and that they can line up the launch site to where they need to deploy these satellites. That's one of the things, like we saw with Starlink. Well, the more and more launches they do, the harder and harder it is to launch future ones because your window gets smaller and smaller all the way until you're in an instantaneous launch window, which if you delay 1 second, you miss your launch window. So definitely go there. Billy, got to go to sleep anyways. No worries, Billy. Great to see you. See you later, Virginia. Thanks for being here. George, I think Russian space program started feeling NASA's launches. Yeah. EV, the tire was flat. No new launch window just yet. We will keep an eye out for that. Forever Falcon, cheers for the broadcast and the info. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to engage that subscribe button if you're new. Saw lots of new names in here. Mark, see you soon, fellow nerds. When are you live next? So the next, we'll have a couple videos premiering later today. We've got 2 big updates. Big update about the future of the Starlink system and a big update about HLS, the Human Landing System contract. Not information from Blue Origin, but information from NASA and the court. So we'll have a flash update on that and a bigger update on the future of Starlink and some progress there. Those will come out, I'm hoping, by later tonight, if not first thing tomorrow. And then the next launch that we have scheduled, let me double check the calendar here. We have New Shepard on August 25th, which we'll be covering that live. This is a cargo New Shepard flight. And then we have a Falcon 9 carrying the Dragon CRS-2 mission. It's the SpaceX 23rd CRS mission. They number it weirdly. But the CRS, which is a cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station, that is taking place on August 28th. So we will be live for that as well. And then we're going to have a few Electrons lined up and hopefully some historic firsts. We'll have the Tehran 1 flight test from Relativity Space, hopefully on September 2nd, and then very shortly after, on 13th, the studio will be packing up and heading to Kennedy Space Center. So lots of things coming up in September that you guys aren't going to want to miss. But thank you guys for all being here. See ya. We will see you guys later. Thanks for being here. Cargo, New Shepard, they try bringing cargo. No, not to the ISS. They are going to be launching to... we're going to stop this stream here. There we go. They're going to be doing just another suborbital flight that they launch to suborbital cargo. Kind of like a sounding rocket, but it's easier to recover. What we saw with all the test flights. They sent cargo in each of those as well. Yeah, student cargo and stuff. Bunch of postcards again of their Postcards of the Future program and things like that. So it'll be the first one we've seen since their crewed flight. They do have 2 different boosters, it sounds like. One that they're going to do for crewed missions and one they're going to do for cargo. We don't expect to see another crewed mission maybe by the very end of the year or early next year at this point. Brian, where did you get all your models? Well, a number of them, if they're the really small ones you're seeing on the shelves or on this side, on this shelf here, they are from an awesome group called Behimzo on Etsy. We have some review videos in our photo booth studio, giving you a better look at those. Otherwise, a number of them are Lego. Some of them, like the helmet was a special thing that I won. The big shuttle is from when I was a kid, like when I was like 4. But the 2 massive Falcons, they're 5 feet tall each, are from an awesome shop on Etsy called Starship Balls. And we are working on getting our website up where we'll be able to give you guys direct links to all of these. And if we can get you guys discount codes, we're working on that as well. So keep an eye out for that. The Launchpad or launchpadnews.com, something like that. We're hoping to have up and running before we go live from Kennedy Space Center. So keep an eye out for that. Russell just got here. It was scrubbed, unfortunately, Russell. No launch tonight. They got down to T-minus 30 seconds and ran into an issue with the rocket. We don't know what yet, but it is definitely done for tonight. Thanks for the live coverage. Absolutely. Great to have you all here. But for now, that's going to do it for us here. I think we're going to wrap it up. If you haven't yet engaged the subscribe button, join us over on the Discord. We're going to hang out in there for a bit, maybe play some Kerbal. And as always, we will be back here on the Launchpad bringing you everything space, either through space news, live launches, or exclusive interviews. But for now, that's going to do it. This is Zach with the Launchpad signing off. Have a great day, everyone.